Every day is a beautiful day in Southern California. Welcome back, our All-Star Friday special. Erik Karlsson's the captain of the Ottawa Senators, and he joins Daniel Alfredsson as the only one to make it to 4 All-Star games as an Ottawa Senator. So that's great for you and your buddy. You know who, you said something interesting, Erik, to, I think Elliot, earlier in the year about you don't skate backwards much, which was kind of an interesting observation. And then I realized there's a guy that never skated backwards who's the greatest defenseman ever, Bobby Orr. Always skated on the, he was so fast, he could, like you.
They had the puck all the time.
That's it. Yeah. And he would go in from the, well, he ended up in the front of the net like you do, Erik, but he could make sure he wheeled and circled so that he could get back on the back check and did it. So your skating is wonderful. How's it feel to be here for the 4th time?
It feels good. And as for my backward skating, the reason I don't do it so much is probably because I'm not that good at it. When you skate when you're a kid, you never skate backwards, When you're playing around with your friends, it's all you do is skate forward. So I guess that's what I'm used to, and that's probably the only sole reason for that part of my game. But other than that, it's great to be here in LA. It's nice weather. It's nice to be able to be outside at 6 p.m. and not wearing a big overcoat.
So you and I chatted on the plane today, and I was explaining to you Red Kelly, guy sat 2 seats behind you today. First ever Norris Trophy winner. You have 2 of them now. He won 4 Stanley Cups, 4 as a Red Wing, as a defenseman, 4 as a Maple Leaf, as a center. What would the difficulties be going from defense, first 12 years of your career, and playing center?
Well, as you guys pointed out, I stayed a lot forward, so I don't know if I could pull that off, though. That's pretty tough in this league these days, and whatever people say about me being a good defenseman, I think that I would really struggle as a forward because it's a totally different game up there, and once I get real deep in the opponent's zones, I'm not that comfortable. So I would like to stay on the blue line and go backwards from there. But that was a remarkable thing to see an older guy like that taking a trip like this to be part of something like this.
Erik, we just had Michel Terry on, and we talked about the history of the Montreal Canadiens and how it must feel going into a building tonight. For you, whether or not we're talking about a pioneer like Borje Salming or some of the guys later on in our era, it was Forsberg, of course Daniel Alfredsson. How special of a night does it feel for someone from Sweden tonight?
It's definitely different. Being from Sweden, as you said, which I am. When I grew up, we didn't have that much coverage. We knew names and we've seen pictures and I can't say that I recognize everybody, but as soon as I hear names, I knew who they are. I know who they are, and it's cool to be around those old guys that paved the way for the game that we play today and love so much, and it's nice for them to get the recognition that maybe they didn't get at the time when they were playing, and make them feel as special as we all know that they are.
Growing up in Toronto, my favorite player was Salming growing up. I was a huge Borje fan. Do you remember your first meeting with him?
Yeah, I met him in the loading dock down at the Rogers Arena in Toronto. That was pretty special, and that's one face that I recognized right away when I saw him with all the stitches, and very humble man, and RD coach Mark Crawford always says that he made a fool of him his last shift in NHL, and he doesn't really like the guy, but I have to vouch for him that Salming he's a pretty good guy.
What about Lidstrom? Brent Gilchrist on Vernon this weekend said of all the Red Wings, the greatest he ever played with by far was Lidstrom, not Yzerman. He said Yzerman was obviously our forward. What about him?
Nick is, I was fortunate to play against him for a number of years, and unfortunately never had the chance to play with him in the national team since he retired right before I was called upon that duty, but got the chance to spend some time with him this year in the World Cup. We played golf together a couple of times, and again, also someone that paved the way for a lot of players, like myself, and especially being from Sweden, and again, someone that I have tremendous respect for, and the things that he did throughout his career, in an era when the hockey was different than it is now, and he could play any aspect of the game, and he did it at the highest possible level, it feels like, for all the years that he was in this league.
Well, whether it's Salming or Hedberg or Nielsen, Andreas Dackel, real good buddy of mine that I got to golf with. Sweden's done so much for the game, so congrats as being their great ambassador now. Erik Karlsson of the Ottawa Senators.